Yeah. So that's that sort of thing. So, shall we get into the weather?
So I was going to suggest that we get into the weather.
Okay.
So now let me see. All right, we'll start on this. See if you know about this. So Peter Little went and got a Freedom of Information request on all the documentation relating to the 1967 Rainmaking Act.
Yeah, I gave that to him.
So that's your heading. You fill in the body of text, mate.
Okay then. Okay. So definition 2 of this is manned aircraft releasing chemicals from a plane. That's a definition 2.
Well, that's a conspiracy theory. I've heard that.
Yeah. No. Well, it's still current right now in Victoria on their website. And what Peter Little was saying that they've taken it down. Well, they haven't.
So do you want to share a screen or?
Yes, I'm about to do that.
Well, only if I let you. There you go.
Where is it? Here. Okay. So here we go. So Rainmaking Control Act, 1967.
Yep.
I'll just load it up so it's a bit bigger for you.
Yep.
Okay. Short titles and commentation, the definitions. In this act, unless inconsistent with the context of subject matter, prescribed means prescribed by regulations made under this act. Rainmaking operations means the seeding of nucleating of clouds by artificial, well, I can't see from your screen, manned aircraft.
Yeah.
It's basically plain as day and it's simple to understand.
Yep.
So it goes all the way down to here, you know, no liability, there it is, number 12. No liability in respect of authorised operations. So there's basically what they're saying, if there's any catastrophe that is named by it, and they're not to blame. So as you can see, it's a current act, Victorian current act.
If we can just hold that, because down here on that says a person carrying out rainmaking operations outside Victoria under and in accordance with the law, if any, corresponding with this act and in force of the state or territory where the operations are carried out shall not in any way be liable for any loss or damage. So it looks like this could be an act that actually covers all of Australia.
Yes.
But it's projected from Victoria. So it's possible that this act, there's not an equivalent act in New South Wales or Queensland because this one covers it.
Yeah. It's, let's see what else. What's 8?
Cloud seeding in Victoria to induce rainfall in another state. Oh, there you go.
So it's all there. It's Australia-wide.
Isn't it funny how they make up little regulations for stuff that doesn't exist?
Well, you know, how
because if they did that, they could have stopped bushfires. So obviously it doesn't exist.
That's correct. That's correct. So I'll go from there, and then I'm going to go here. I'm glad I can do this all on the screen. Okay. This is how simple it is to find this stuff. Like I said, I gave that to Peter.
Yeah.
A few months ago, and he said he was looking for it. I'll have to go here. He didn't even know it was there, so he went looking for it again, and they might have moved it a little way, but because it's part of an act, it's still there. So here we go. This is just Untold, 1964.
Well, when we were talking the other night, I mentioned that company. Sorry, where was it? Was it? Gee, I even said it this afternoon. Now,
there's another one I'll show you in a second. It's the Australian Rain Company. So this is a good one for you to look at. Just look up CSIRO, Rainmaking 1968. It goes for about 17 minutes.
Yeah, and there's that company from America, weathermodification.com.
Yeah, weather modification. They've been into Queensland, but also the Tasmanian government are also doing this.
Demonstration that man was able to alter the course of the weather came a little over 20 years ago.
Okay, so that's 1968. So 20 years ago is 1948.
There's a company called Miles Industry in Horsham that actually has
In 19...
stated that he changed the weather for the bushfires in Black Wednesday, and also broke the drought in Victoria in 2008. I had a video recording of it. You remember that?
Yeah, I do. Hang on. Here's another one. Welcome to the Australian Rainmaking Technologies. So we go down to here. Australian Rain Technologies, ART, is pioneering a strategical analyst to enable commercially effective decisions making in the area of rainfall enhancement. This strategical methodology is being applied to ART's own Atlant. That's CSIRO. The Atlant, they sort of rainfall enhancement through ionisation technology. However, it is equally applicable to chemical cloud seeding, which has been hampered by inconclusive trial analysts for 70 years. So we're dealing with people that are just constantly lying to us. Constantly. So we go back to, I'll just do another one on YouTube here. Okay. This is what I've learned. Yes. Totally different. You know, are you guys in Victoria? Is in Victoria? Are there many here in Victoria?
Yeah, there's a few there, yeah.
Okay, well, that cold weather you got on Saturday, which came up and pushed away all the heat. Yeah, that was me. That was me doing that. I was seeing catastrophic weather, and I'll show you. Right. This is one of the maps I use to watch my weather. So we're right now, we'll get to now. That was all pushed up to here. I'll take you back to it. We'll go back to it through this program. But this gives me the heat and everything. So I can go up here, it's 38 degrees there. Then I watched on the news tonight and they were saying it was 45 and all the rest of it. Well, I watch them lie as they do it. So it makes me angry, so I don't like watching TV. Anyways, we'll go backwards. So we've got 7:30. I'm going to go back to it's 4:30. I'll go back one more till it's 1:30. So you can see how this high here. Can everyone see my mouse?
Yes.
Okay. This high is coming in, as what it's doing is pushing up the cold air and helping keeping the lower part cool. But now I'm looking at this here as something I need to deal with, and I can use my device, which I'll show you guys in a minute. Actually, I can do that now if you want. No, I'll do it in a minute. I can lower the temperatures up here and bring it cooler. So that'll go around to here. This map here actually gives me the stratosphere. I can watch the stratosphere. So I go up to 700 hectopascals. And now I can see two vortexes which have been created. Okay, so I don't know if I'll go back to now. All right, so one's gone. This here is a cold mass here, but this is sort of carries the rain in this part here. So that's just telling us that how fast the wind is. So it's 0.5 degrees and 75 kilometers of winds up there. Now, when this is like this, I see all this cold air down here, and I know that this here, this vortex here, and it's actually bent, so it's not too good. It's not too happy there. And here one's coming up as well. When I deploy into them, I can actually break them down. They actually collapse, and then all the bottom of here lifts up. So I'll see if I can get, what was the date on the Saturday? Second was the 28th. Anyways, I'll go backwards. So I'm at 4:39, 7:30. That might be. We'll get back down here. Oh, that's now. Okay, so I'm going to go back. 4:30, 1:30. Okay, 1:30 in the afternoon. So you can see how it's sort of pushing up here. Well, as I go back, I'm going back a day now. You can see how this is pushing back down. Okay, this is sort of when this is after I've done it. See how it's all pushed up there? It's all pushed in.
Yeah.
And that redness is, instead of it being all the way down here, is actually back up there. I'll go back one more day. Yeah, look at the picture that I actually had. Let me get back. What's that? It's the 28th. Yeah, this is when it started. You can see here it was pushing up the rain here, and this was all coming down into Victoria.
So is that bringing like the hot air from Central Australia down to Victoria?
Now here it goes. This is what I did. This heat comes from 3 military bases over here on the western coast. They're able to create heat and wind, which are part of these lines that are coming down here. So as what I did was brought up the air from down in the south, from the Antarctic, and then it started to push it all away from our farmers, because all I could see was fires.
Yeah.
So we'll go next 3 hours. This map goes updates every 3 hours. So there I got it again. It's pushed it all away, and it's 10:30 in the morning. Wrong one. Okay, so next 3 hours. Okay, you can just see that I've squashed all the heat that was there, devastating the area. I've moved up all this cold air, and then here they're able to create vortexes with their Doppler radar.
Yeah, that's going to say, because up the top where you pointed out before, up above to the north, on the northwest, there's a series of Doppler radars up there,
Yeah,
isn't
I'll
there?
show you. Okay, so these are all the Doppler radars. All of these things here, there's 50 of them, 53, 54 of them. And we've worked it out that we only need really 12. So I'll show you some pictures after of the area that the frequencies come out of them. They're like big round things, and sometimes
Okay, Chris, so let me stop you there for a second.
Hmm?
So let's just go back into television land. Why do we have Doppler radar?
it's supposedly to for bomb and all them to go over the radar, over the circumference of the Earth to see over the top. But most of these here are actually to help bomb gauge and see what's happening with the weather. Now you see down here, see how that's moving backwards.
Yeah.
Everything should be coming in and going down there. Well, you know, that's blocking rain. There's probably nothing even there, but there's moisture being banked up because it's being pushed back.
Okay.
That's what happens with ether when you push it backwards. It creates rain.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I pushed all this up in the air. Now the farmers actually, guys ask, we got rain coming up Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and I'm going to try and I'm actually going to point down this way, or maybe just up this way here, and bounce it off so the farmers can keep getting their crops done. And then,
Okay, so now you know what's happening tonight. There'll be some people here who's going, this guy's telling me that they're controlling the weather, and now he's telling me that he can interfere with them interfering with it.
yep.
So there's going to be, yeah, no, I know it's correct. That's what you're telling them. But for some people, that might be a little bit hard for them to take in and to do.
It's not that hard. So here we have, this is when that first started there, and I pushed all this up. So that's me. That's someone asked me what she wanted to do over in New Zealand. There's a few of us. It's not just me. And she said, it's peeing down with rain, what do we do? Well, I'm slicing into a cyclone. And what it does is dissipate it. It slows it down in the center and also dissipates the rain around the area instead of being one big lot. So as you can see, with this other one, how much I cooled it down, where otherwise it would have just been hot 40-degree winds blowing straight into Victoria. So I seen all this coming. I thought, no, I'm not going to let that happen. There was, I think, 4 fires in South Australia, and it just blew away because it rained a little bit at the same time. So yes, these things here, well, you know, the more we show you of the 1968, we've already looked at, there's a Rainmaking Act, and I've been ringing a radio station up for the past, 14 years. I've been reading a radio station in Adelaide called 5AA. Okay, and I've been called a nut job all the whole time. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not the nut. This is my device. This is it here.
Hang on, we're still sharing the same screen.
Okay, yep, okay. Where'd it go? Oh, here. This is my device. It's just a piece of poly pipe. It's got a copper bottom pot in the bottom. I have another one to cover the hole at the top when I'm finished using it. It's grounded to the earth, and I use water. So it's mounted on a chair, upside down swivel chair. It's got a satellite dish where you can, you know, maneuver them around up or down. That holds that part. You can see just on the side here, I've made a sleeve out of PVC, and I've stuck it in that sleeve and just taped it to it. Well, these things are so simple, but me knowing the weather helps me understand what I'm doing. I've learned from a guy from England. I brought a device from him, but it sort of was damaging things around the place, so I actually broke it up, and then I started to make my own things. And I had help from a friend in Bali. His name is Dan. I want you all to go to a page if you want to see some more stuff of what he does and what he's taught me. His the name of the place is baligifters.org. I'll write that in
Well, we could go there on your screen, Chris, if you're familiar with the.
Okay, I'll load that up.
If you don't mind.
No, I don't mind at all. Okay.
So it's baligifters.org.
Yep. I'll load him up.
Debbie, can we green the middle of Australia?
Yes. Yes, we can. Okay. Yes, we can.
Okay, I've got a question, which we might just bring in, Chris.
Yep.
So go ahead, Shane.
Hello there, Chris. Chris, we live at Longreach, and just south of Longreach there's a place called Jindalee, 28 kilometres, and there's over the horizon radar. There's 3 of them in Australia, as I understand. You know much about those? I've lost no hearing.
Hang on. If you can unmute yourself there, Chris.
Okay. Yep. Sorry.
Oh, you're right. Did you get the question?
I do. Yeah, I did. I do. I know that place very well. We can point at these installations and the Doppler radar towers and render them useless so that the water goes over the top of them. And I've done it many times and watched many times.
Okay. I understand, Chris, that they're supposed to be able to look the other side of China from there and look at a plane take off, watch it land, and look at a ship to see if it's loaded or empty.
Yep. Yep. So now we'll go to this, but yeah, no, what they're doing is criminal. Like I'll go back to. I'm still sharing this one. I'll go
It's actually a fair bit more than criminal, isn't it?
Yeah, can you see this one here?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna.
On windy.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, that's better. Okay, clouds. We're there. I'll update it.
How come there's no clouds in Australia?
That's right. But these clouds, this one's to here. Let's see if I can get this to work. It happened the other day. These all bunched up here. They go to the coast here, and they stop. And then all of a sudden they go backwards. Let's still see if this goes west. Let's watch here.
So, Jordana, you've probably got to forget about the term government. That's just an illusion. So it's something that's put in front of us to make us think there's something doing things. But seriously, if you ever watch Question Time or whatever that show that's on just before play school, and think that that's running a country, there's no way that's running a country.
Okay, now watch this.
We have an illusion of governments.
Yep. See that? Did you see that, everyone? It's going back west. Oh, this is a massive cloud. This should just be going straight up here and over here. Look at it. Look at it bounce away to the west.
And then it seems to be sucking down below, going through the bight.
Exactly what they've been doing for quite a while. So these farmers want me to actually try and remove that rain that just came through. But if you just keep watching here, it just goes west. That's not natural. That is not natural whatsoever. Our weather comes from the west to the east. So why is it going west? You can see it going away. And you can see this here was created up there. That's to keep it away. That'll keep pushing that out there to keep it away. But they create these lows and highs wherever they want. They've also got them over here, up in Brisbane area. So there's another one just started. Down in Sydney, Brisbane.
So, Chris, when you've been looking at all this, have you ever gone further where you've looked to see what sort of identification you can put on the entities that do this? Because it's not government. It's
Oh, it's government.
Well, but people say it's government, but we don't have government.
Yeah.
Not Scott Morrison and those peanuts.
No, well, Turnbull has pumped money into the Snowy Hydro many a time. He's given Murdoch's son $10 million at times to cloud seed over the Snowy Mountains. So the CSIRO are involved, BOM are involved, bomb.gov. Like I said, I was watching the news tonight, and if Dad's got the telly on, I'll look at the news, and they were showing you catastrophic red weather up in the north. Yeah, it wasn't. It was like this, and they had 45s, 40s, whatever. Well, right now, let's go to now. All right, so it's 38 up there, 33, 29. There was no 40s. There was nothing over. So we get down here, 40, along that line. And it's actually going the wrong way, that line, because that's what I did. This is the last bit of what I created with cold air, like down here. This is not summertime, for Christ's sake. 11 degrees. That's not summertime. It should be like, that should be late afternoon, and then into the evening, it should get to like 25. That's summertime. That's what summertime is. So I've even, I've just got to let it go for a little while now because of the farmers. And I'm going to try and block that rain coming in, because it does damage the crops once they have rain coming in. And that's another part of what they're doing with the weather modification. They're destroying our food. They're destroying all our food. A lot of plants and trees don't know what's what season it is. You see rose bushes that they're just flowering all year long. So it's pretty weird to see, But I've been watching maps since I was 5, and I've been doing this for nearly 4 years. But I've always watched the weather. And one of the One of the helping points for me was, let me go here. I learnt it from Kate Bush. I was still reading maps. I was still learning maps, but this song here taught me that. I'll read it to you. Have a listen. We'll turn it down a touch. Official music video for the single "Cloud Busting," written, produced, and performed by the British singer Kate Bush. It was the second single released from her #1 1985 album, Hounds of Love. Cloud Busting peaked at number 20 in the UK single charts. The music video, directed by Julian Doyle, was conceived by Terry Gilliam and Kate Bush. The video features Canadian actor Donald Sutherland playing the role of Wilhelm Reich and Bush playing the part of the young son Peter. So that was the first time I ever seen the name Wilhelm Reich. And from there, I just started looking. But as you can see here, I'll go a bit forward, he's playing with a big device that he's conjured up. He's an inventor. And so I'll go further up. He's come down from the hill. Look, Kate's playing with the stuff, creating some clouds. And he's just waiting for the rain. Because what happens is Wilhelm Reich actually gets arrested. As you can see, the son's back there. He's getting taken away. He got put in jail. And they actually killed him 2 days before he came out of jail. And we'll just keep going. You know, he's telling her to go back up to the hill. And it starts to rain. And well, I've done this, you know. I've done this. So we'll go. I'll just find, where's that gone?
So I've got somebody that's got a question. We might just field a question amongst your travels there, Chris.
Yep.
So Crown No Name, if you could go ahead.
Pardon?
Hey, I was just wondering if you could talk about what they're doing with the water dams.
Depleting them as much as possible. When you have a company called Australian Rain Technology, and they can show you how they can layer rain, why are we in droughts?
Yeah, why did we have the bushfires? Why everything?
Yes.
'Cause I thought the dams was about, like, you've got like a natural river system going through farmers' lands, like one acreage after the next, and then you like put a dam up, and then that just stops. It dries out all the land. Isn't that how it works?
Sort of. If they put the dam in the wrong place, usually whatever falls out of the sky goes into it. But a dam would probably be made along the line of a small creek or something where it runs down to it to fill it. Now, if we look at Cubby Station, they've blocked off the whole river and they have it flowing into giant dams. And that's what they've done. Look, Barnaby Joyce needs to go to jail.
One of those dams is like over 70 kilometres long, isn't it?
Yep. Yep. So now I'm going to show you Trevor James Constable. Just for, we'll go back to the 3. This one's 4 minutes.
The late Dr. Walter O. Stark was an enthusiastic collaborator with Trevor on weather engineering equipment design. An internationally known specialist in commercial negative ion systems, Dr. Stark experimented in his native Switzerland with cloudbusters into which he incorporated negative ion needles. Chicago-born Thomas J. Brown has been involved with the development of etheric rain engineering for decades and is today the webmaster of the Etheric Rain Engineering Singapore website. Tom Brown distinguished himself as longtime director of Borderland Sciences prior to moving to New Zealand. Forthright and upright, Tom is a visionary personage on things esoteric, and a sterling friend of etheric rain engineering. For 25 years, Trevor has achieved the best groundwork that anybody could have ever hoped for. It is time for this generation to make these results count, to benefit and help achieve one of the greatest moments in humanity's history, the harnessing and awareness of this life force energy for all cultures, and to help create the secure infrastructure for a whole new genre of engineering and research conditions, a reform of the system, something that Trevor has worked for years to establish the need for. Needed is security from the elements that kept these and many, many, many other inventions away, not only from the taxpayer, but from humanity advancing itself. History and Trevor has shown us many lessons which took years to prove. Trevor is a pioneer and humanitarian who we salute. It is now our responsibility to make his results count. Trevor James Constable has devoted over 40 years of his life to the development of an environmentally clean natural process to engineer the production of rain without spraying any chemicals into the air. Trevor has successfully been engineering rain and breaking droughts for decades. Now you can see with your own eyes how it's done. A complete record and chronology of Trevor's work has been made into a digital format and is available on Trevor's website. This ebook and DVD resource goes into complete historic detail how the process enabled Trevor to dissipate smog in large metropolitan areas, lift fog in harbours for maritime safety, break droughts and alleviate human suffering, fill reservoirs for irrigation and power production, calm high winds to help fight wildfires, weaken large storms and steer them away from populated areas. Trevor's website has been generously set up by Dr. Peter Lindemann and is the only available public offering for all this historic, pioneering and unique work. Trevor does not want his work to be rare and obscure. This resource is made available at low cost to the public in order to help get this educational material out there. If you can support Trevor's years and years of hard work, please go to trevorconstable.com. Thank you for your support. The late Dr. Walter O. Stark.
There we go. Let's go to one of three. That was 3 of 3. 1 of 3. Right, we're going to listen to Trevor talk now. Hang on.
Vector of etheric force consisting.
That's what I want to make, this thing.
Trevor has had proof of this clean, non-chemical weather modification process.
I'll get back to, we'll just go to Trevor.
Where rain formations developed and how they moved and thus brought in rain into Los Angeles, where the project was successful. Simply expressed, Trevor has provided proof that he would define in advance what he intended to do and how he intended to do it, using the official government filing procedure for weather engineering. Then he would execute the project. Government measurements and radar maps would objectively confirm or refute the success. Here is the SS Maui. It was on this ship that Trevor Constable conducted 13 years of weather engineering experiments using his revolutionary geometrical rules designs. What you are about to see are various research and development tests.
This is the Black Widow, a basic projector of etheric force consisting of a PVC tube with associated lined cone. Here is another version of it. The cone and the tube are geometrically related to each other. All of these devices are basically projectors of etheric force. Even a simple cone like this is a projector of etheric force. These
I'm sorry about the
bazookas do not
TV.
use cones, but employ layering. There is no electromagnetic radiation, no chemicals, no external energy source. This is the termite. We call it that because as the ship moves and this rotates, it literally bores into the ether, setting up etheric vortices. You're going to see these. Termites come in different sizes. This is a termite 135. Also a vortex generator. This is a small one, about the size of a coffee cup, a 4x4. This is the box Apache, a basic and simple generator of vertical etheric vortices. Such an arrangement stirs vertical ether currents into vortices, and these translate into rain. This is the brainchild of Erwin Trent, my oldest and closest associate. We call it the Skimmer. It's simpler than the simplest transistor radio, but it will make rain in high pressure. You'll see this. Here are a couple of skimmers in a spider-type arrangement. This also raises hob in the atmosphere. No chemicals, no electricity, ever.
You can see rain in the background.
Some of them are pretty small, as you can see from my hand. We call this one the Matterhorn. There's a couple of very precisely tuned chambers there, but once again, no chemicals and no electricity, just the power required to rotate this thing. This is a Mark 10 spider.
These are dangerous.
It is an effective generator of etheric vortices, and it is perfectly capable of surrounding a moving ship with rain, even when the barometer is high. There are many variants of the spider. Here is a Mark II spider, working, believe it or not, 6 decks down inside the Maui's hull and below the waterline. If you happen to be a physics professor, this is going to boggle your mind. Here is a similar spider working on the flying bridge in the horizontal mode. With these devices, the idea is to cater to the ether's tendency to move in the form of vortices. There are dozens of variants for generating these vortices, and they are all descended from the original devices, the projectors, that we're going to show you first. In the earlier teachings of Dr. Rudolf Steiner, this energy form is called the chemical ether. Dr. Reich demonstrated the existence of this orgone energy, or primary energy, or chemical ether, visually with the orgonoscope, an instrument that he designed, thermically with calibrated thermometers, with the electroscope, and with the Geiger-Müller counter. That was all done in his lifetime. In more recent years, Dr. Walter Stark, a Swiss physicist, developed a special device, a digital instrument called the orgonotester, that provides a continuous digital readout of the activity of this free primary energy.
Right, so you just told us that it's a free primary energy. So why are we paying for electricity?
Because I've got a copper mine.
anyways, that's sort of that's it, guys. This is where we learnt it from. It is possible. It doesn't use chemicals as they are doing now. If you notice and live in the country, you will notice a haze around us. And this haze that is around us is from what's falling from the planes. There's no other reason for it. I went to Mount Hotham about 4 years ago, and I went to the top of Mount Hotham and looked. I knew I could see 360 degrees around me, and I seen the haze everywhere. So, and then 2 planes went above me, leaving giant lines, and I just sort of started crying because it's just sort of realizing that we can't escape this haze nowhere. And that was like 1,000 and a bit kilometers from where I lived, and it's everywhere. Same deal.
Yeah, well, we're sort of being terraformed. Like terra is the land, but they are modifying the land and modifying what will grow. And I think the intention is to make sure that we're taking up aluminium into our systems. We become a better antenna, and then we're going to be more vivid in the 5G blanket of energy that surrounds us. We're going to be the interference that's walking through the field, and everybody, just everything will be visible. Everything will have a signature.
Yeah, well, we have. I already have 2 people in Australia, and we've got another 4 coming along. A lot of the work I've done alone. There was 3 of us that worked on the cyclones up in the north last year that filled the Great Lake. That was 3 people that were busting up cyclones and dispersing the rain, and it's come down all the rivers and filled up the Great Lake. Whereas it wouldn't have done that; it just would have been a cyclone, ripped apart a heap of places, and then dispersed back off the sea. We've got to realise that they can actually steer the cyclones to where they want.
Yep.
So when we come along with our devices, we laugh because we know we're upsetting their plans.
Yeah. Okay, now I've got a couple of questions here, so I'll just ask Di to unmute. Go ahead, please, Di.
Oh, hi, Chris. Hi, Stephen. Just questioning that, thoughts going through my head. Is there any way we can all collaborate and maybe have one of these machines on different properties throughout Australia and have a big communication ring of, I've got no idea on how it works or anything like that, but just thinking if there was a group, I'm in Victoria in South Gippsland, and then if someone's in North Victoria and, spread it out through every region of every state and have a big communication ring of, South Gippsland, you need to turn yours on. I don't know how it works, but is there a way we can all do that?
I'm already doing that.
Oh, cool.
So the answer is yes.
Yeah. Well, if you need one in South Gippsland, give us a hoy.
Well, we don't need too many, and we really have to be in one room together when we're doing this. It is really crucial that we work together as a team, and you don't just start deploying willy-nilly. You have to understand maps. You have to understand vortexes. You have to understand the movement of them, of vortexes. So it's not just something you can grab and go, rightio, I've got one, I'll point it that way, because you don't even know what you're pointing it at. So it's sort of a planned thing where I go back to my maps, and then, I can reach Madagascar with mine, or, I've broken up a cyclone in Madagascar, and they go for quite some distance. This ether has no barriers. It's like that guy, when Trevor was saying he was on the 6th level of the ship, and ether doesn't understand he's in a ship. So it just starts going, and he doesn't go, oh, hang on, I'm in a ship, I can't get out of here. No, ether doesn't think.
Well, ether is an energy that permeates all things.
Yes. So we have enough people ready to do this. It's just that we have to coordinate now and get ourselves into a room. There's 2 other people. There's a lady in New Zealand, a guy in New South Wales. There's actually 2 in New South Wales, but he sort of stopped. The guy in Bali, Dan, from that Bali Gifters, he stopped as well. I think they EMP'd him. I think they attacked him. So he's actually pulled all of his devices apart. But when I first met him and I first turned up in this club, The guy that was running the show was in England, and they were really happy that I turned up. But once Dan seen what I was doing, he said, like, you're a natural at this. And it came down to the fact that I understood the weather, and I've understood the weather of Australia for such a long time. So that was a bonus for what I'm doing. But we really have to be critical that we don't cross over each other. I'll keep a watch on my maps every day as I do. You know, I watch the maps for easy an hour a day.
So
But
for
if-
something like this, Chris, if we had like people like Di that wanted to be more involved, if we were to channel people into one area so there can be communication, so people have got a better awareness, because they'd almost have to do, it's not a course, but you've got to do the equivalent in learning to know what it is you're dealing with.
You've got to understand maps. You've got to understand the flow. You've actually got to understand what your weather used to be like, where it came from, and where it should go.
And more importantly, not underestimating the power that's within conducting the ether.
Correct.
It's, you're setting something in motion that when you do this, it's not like something comes out of there and goes out there. What you're doing is you're setting up a conduit. You're setting up something that's drawing energy to it, and then it's actually directing it, and it's creating a stream.
Yes.
So,
when I say, I'll just go back to, let me go back to my maps, and I'll show you.
I've got another question there as well.
Yep,
so, and we'll get them through, because.
Go ahead.
So go ahead, Jordana.
Hi, yeah, thanks, Chris. I've just woken up this year about chemtrailing and weather modification and all that. But I'm just like, they're using heavy metals, aren't they, to do it? Like, but is it just those small planes, or are they right outside in the ionosphere? They showering down from out there.
We've learned with the people that have been doing this for so long, is what we actually did was we grabbed hold of a fireworks chart, giving you the different colors. So then at night times when the sun sets, we actually put it up to the sunset and we can tell what chemicals they're using. But we know they're using, the fires that we've had have been so intense that we've worked out that they're using a sparkler dust.
Yep.
Which is like aluminium, barium. And when you put,
it's like thermite.
Those two chemical names together, they actually spell Baal, the devil.
Yeah.
Okay,
and, and does that create, and that's basically thermite, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah. So that's why they're so intense. And the haze, this is what the haze is. And it's slowly sinking onto the ground. The waters are raining over the trees. The aluminium's going into the ground. The roots of the trees are being blocked. That's why we see trees being from the inside out. So it's here. Once I get hold of these farmers, and if anyone can get hold of any farmer that will listen, because they need to know. And if we can get, once I finish explaining this to the farmers, they'll be angry, as we all are. And then we can pretty well go to the government and tell bombs to turn them radars off. Turn them off, because it'll just go back to what it normally was. Whatever was in Perth 2 days beforehand comes to Adelaide 2 days later. That's how it used to be. Whatever Perth was, Adelaide was, Victoria was.
Yep.
And that was that.
It just came across.
I mentioned it to a farmer who's an elderly client. I'm in aged care. He was getting really depressed about the COVID thing and the masks, and I just started ranting about the whole setup of everything. And I said, and the weather, because what are you talking about? Because he's also in the CFA, and I told him about how they wanted firefighters to go over to California. I said, don't go near those places, like they've sort of engineered those fires and rah, rah, rah. And he the other cogs started to click. And so, and I think too, like, because he's got all the stress of the crop failing and whatever, because the weather's so bad that maybe, like you say, the farmers could get angry and sort of make some changes, maybe, or make the government listen. But
they will never listen.
No, right.
They don't even respect that we know what they've got in Parliament. They make us look like idiots. This is a point of farmers. I could see a bunch of farmers going up to these towers and actually pulling the power out of the wall. That's basically where we're at.
You mean the 5G towers or the?
Well, you can do them too. They're not phone towers. I can tell you that right now.
No.
You drop in and out everywhere with those towers. Even in the cities, some places you go to, you've got no connection. So they're not what they say they are.
No.
I think they're actually like a giant. They can turn them up and just heat up the whole area, which stops rain. I see that all the time in Hobart, actually. When the rain's going over to Hobart, there's always a gap over Hobart itself. And I point at the B with my device, and then rain goes into Hobart. It knocks these things out. It's a good thing. And you're right, like even with people, we need people just to point at these things, even if they're not playing with the vortexes, until they learn what's going on, if you understand.
Mm-hmm.
Even just having people where they could point at these towers from several places and let the rain come over the top.
Yeah.
Because that's what it does. It used to be like when me and Dan were playing with it, we were bringing rain in from the northwest, and I'd have to go point at each tower across Australia. So I was going from West Australia into Alice Springs, Mount Isa. But if you watch those maps constantly, you'll notice that the rain gets to those points and stops. Once we put a device onto it, it goes straight over the top.
Okay. So,
but what about the cynicism of the weather reports? Because I have to watch the mainstream news at client's house, and it just makes me feel like vomiting the way they go, "Oh, we had a lovely day today." I thought, "Oh, you didn't do anything today, did you?"
That's right. That's right. It's like I said, I seen the news tonight when I sort of looked over at that, and they showed you the top end and just all this heat as if it was major catastrophe going on. I went straight to my map and said, "Dad, look, they're lying. They're lying. It's not even that temperature that they're saying."
Yeah.
So they show us bogus maps. They show us bogus stuff.
or at least they're consistent.
Point two. Steve, may I cut in a second?
Yeah,
Sorry,
not yet, Andy. No. So I've got Colette going in there. We'll just like to take them in order if we can. So go ahead, Colette. Oops, I just muted you.
Hi guys. Yeah, just wondering, when you say you've been following the maps for so long, is far north Queensland, is it natural for them to have cyclones, or have they created that a long time ago? Chris?
Yeah, they can make, that's what I was saying before, they can create vortexes.
Yeah.
No problems.
What I'm saying is it natural for us to have those though? Or
Well, it is natural.
yeah.
When I became interested in the weather when I was younger, Dad would have the paper and I'd grab it for the cartoons, and the page after the cartoons was a weather map.
Yep.
So I always watched the map, always checked it out, and it just went on from there. And knowing the area, but yes, they can create vortexes, they can create cyclones, they can steer cyclones.
Right.
So a lot of the stuff that goes in the USA, they're directed there.
Oh, well, I'd like you to look after us up here in far north Queensland and direct them somewhere else. Because they reckon we're going to get a few this year because of the El Nino or whatever you call it, because it's supposed to be a real wet.
That even changes every 3 months. The Nino, whatever.
Yeah, Nino, yeah.
Well, garbage.
Yeah, well, just keep your eye out, Chris.
We do. That's what we do.
Thanks for that, mate.
That's what we do.
Thanks,
it's like on the weekend when I said to the farmer, "Did you like the cool change?" And he was a bit upset because they got a little bit of rain. But it didn't harm them.
No, I love rain. I love rain.
Well, at
just
the
don't
moment,
like cyclones.
At the moment, we've actually got to get the rain off so that farmers can get a good yield.
Yeah,
Otherwise, they'll destroy their crops and make it worthless. So that's what I'm trying to do. The next 2 days is I'm going to try and move rain that's coming up from the south, which I've never done before.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure I can do it, so I'll keep it off the coast.
Yeah.
Farmers will be happy.
So what's this channel?
I can make the weatherman look like an idiot because he said it's going to rain Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Let's see, stop the rain. Like fools.
So you're the one that makes the weatherman look like a liar, yeah?
Yes.
Well done.
When you're sitting there going, "Hang on, you said it was going to be this." Well,
yeah. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Okay.
All
Thanks
right.
very much, Colette.
Thanks. Bye.
Go
Thank you,
ahead,
Chris.
Randy.
Hi, Chris.
Hello.
I'm in country Victoria on the Western Highway north of Horsham.
Yep.
I've probably got about 20 farmers I could put you in touch with on an individual Zoom meeting. Not at this point because they're
Yeah.
all on harvesters at the moment. But probably in February when I'm back from Tasmania, if we can hook up, I could put you in a Zoom meeting with 20 farmers with a great coverage of Western Victoria.
Yep.
That may well be interested in emulating your technology and working with you to manage their weather in this area.
Yeah, no problems. I feel a lot of the farmers already know that those the Doppler radar are affecting the weather. You can plainly see it. You know, they'd be freaking out because the rain's coming in.
They've just put one in Japarat, which is north of me, and it's certainly made a massive change. I was quite interested in what you said about what you did on Sunday and how you did that. And I don't quite comprehend how you did it, but it was dramatically cold. I nearly lit the fire, actually. So you did a good job.
Yeah.
But
Well, you would have had the heat as well down there, yeah.
It was certainly it was a quilt night, mate. It wasn't a sheet night, that's for sure. I do believe that we can change the weather, but I think when you're talking about farmers that have got 2,000 to 3,000 hectares, it makes a big difference to them if the weather comes at the right times and they can manage it because they can get bumper crops and then obviously more income for the area. So I seriously could put you probably in a Zoom meeting with 20 farmers with the equivalent of probably 200 to 300 hectares of land in the Wimmera.
Yep, that'd be great.
So if
That'd
you
be
put
great,
your
mate.
details in the chat, I'll grab them and we'll have a bit of a chat if you don't mind, Chris.
Yeah, or we can always contact Chris through Rick if we need to. So
That's through Rick, is
He's
it?
got a
Okay,
question here
awesome.
from...
as well. Yeah, no, we've got a question there from Crown Kath. Go ahead, Kath. You'll have to unmute. There you go.
Am I done? Good. I just wanted to say g'day, Chris, Kath Partridge.
How are you?
Oh gosh, it's been lovely listening to you tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, really good to connect. So yeah, thank you.
That's fine, mate. There's another question here that was, what about the meteorologists? They're complicit too. Yes, they are. All of them are. TV is our enemy. No matter what station it's on, no matter what you're watching.
Yeah.
It's the enemy.
Yeah. So, Kath, did you have something else you wanted to ask?
No, that was it. I just wanted to say g'day, Chris.
Good on you. Kath's always there. She's always supporting.
No problem.
Always supporting. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So we've gone past 9:30. We're going up to 10 to 10, and we might let Chris go shortly, or now. So if anybody's got any questions, if you can bring them forward. But we can also, with this sort of thing, there'll be a lot of people interested. Then there'll be a few people want to work out how it works, and then there'll be a couple of people who do it. But when it gets right down to it, we only actually need a couple, because if there was too many of these things being operated, we'd end up tripping over each other, and you wouldn't know what you might create. So it's, but what we could also do is work out a way of having some form of communication where we know the activity that's going to be done, so we can watch the maps to see if you can see the changes occurring. And because that's just part of it as well. If we can say, well, watch this, and this is what we're aiming for, this is a change that we're looking to make.
Yep.
See that we can have an impact on things.
You know, we did hear Trevor too. He said that these things are so simple.
Yeah.
So that's where I've tried to make you and tell you and other guys. It's like, just stick simple. We go with what works. There's no point changing something that works. There's no need to add anything, because I can make the whole bottom end of Australia go cold. You know, that's with one.
Well, let me put it this way. When you see how simple it is, the first thing a bloke does when he looks at it and he goes, "Oh no, I'll make 4 of those." Like, you're just not one. Like, I'll make that work better.
You
But
can tie them together.
because you go, "Oh no, I'll make a gold one, or I'll do this, or I'll do that," and it's not needed.
It's not needed.
Because that's not what it's about.
No, it's not about. It's more about intent. It's more about knowing that the ether is real, and it's knowing that whatever way we've made these actually protracts and pushes out and creates a beam that you can't see.
Yeah,
that's probably the hardest part about all of this when you've got them, because you can't see a beam. That's where I use my maps. I can see my footprint.
Now, just to go, this is in line with what you're talking about. It might sound a bit weird, but just try it. Now, the people will be aware of Masuro Emoto, and he's the fellow that was taking slides. He could freeze water, take slices, put it under his microscope, and depending on the energy that was put into the water, he'd get different crystal patterns. Now, what I learned when I was walking through that too was what Chris just spoke about, which was intention and what your intent is. And what I learned to do, well, I didn't learn to do it, but I learned it was a thing, and that's disappearing clouds. So you pick a cloud and you look at it, and you just say this. You say, the cloud disappeared and I appreciated it. So the cloud disappeared and I appreciated it. And you imagine something coming from your head, from your forehead, straight to the cloud, and you believe that you're doing it. The cloud disappeared and I appreciated it. Now, the first time I did that, I thought, oh, wow, what a coincidence. The cloud's gone. And then I did it again. And then I did it 3 times. Then I started freaking myself out.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the majority of the time, it happens. It happens. It's really sort of weird, but it does happen. Now, I've got a question from Boris for you, Chris.
Yep.
Concentrate, because Boris is a thinker.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Boris, I muted you.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I came in late to the meeting and I missed most of it. Probably covered this earlier. Well, how do I learn more about the stuff, about Organize? And
we can put you, what we can do, Boris, is we can put you straight into a group of people that are doing it. You're exactly the sort of person that should be in there. So you make a contact with Rick, with Agent Swift.
Yeah, okay.
And then you can be part of the select group of however many want to join.
Years and years ago, I made a device after reading his books, and I tested his theory about creation of life using orgone energy and organic water and carbon.
So Wilhelm Reich.
Yes, that's the same guy. Yeah.
Wilhelm Reich, yes.
Yeah. So I'm not new to it, but I've put it away for years. But it's a coincidence that you came up. Yeah.
I've got your number, and I'm going to call you after this, anyways. How's that sound?
You got my number?
You put it in there. I've got your number.
I'll put it in. Do you want my email or?
I think did you put them in already?
No.
Well, there's another one that. Hang on, let me get back up to it. Put your number in, and I'll give you a call too. There was someone up further. I've got their number anyways. I'll ring them first.
So everybody knows if you want to download the chat, you just go to the chat box, bottom corner, click, you'll get an option to save chat. So easy as you like.
Thank you.
Okay, that's my number there.
Okay, so
thanks.
Everybody
it's very
meet Boris
interesting.
at 3 o'clock in the morning.
You don't know how it is to contact people that have read their books. Dan from Bali also had his.
I've read all of them.
His books were his father had his books in the study. So Dan learned this stuff when he was young as well.
So how does it? Like I remember reading about him actually creating rain, but also stopping the rain by simply reversing the flow of orgone.
Correct.
So is that done?
Yes,
now?
I've done it.
Oh,
I've done it. We can.
Fantastic.
We were able to take the sting out of the storms.
Wow.
I don't know if there's Crown Kath. I've sent you a message there. I want to.
What about? Have you done anything on healing? Because remember he made the little cubicle where people would sit in.
Correct.
The organ accumulator.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why they put him in jail and killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So is it still made out of alternative layers of organic and metallic material?
Yeah, organic, inorganic. Yeah.
So that's what you're making the orgonite now, in the same fashion.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Well,
That's
you've got the Cloudbuster, or the Bazooka, or whatever you want to call it, and that's based on what you just said, the organic, inorganic. But then we're making orgonite like Rick does, which is a concentration of metal in resin with different metals, and then he can show you pictures of some of the ones that he's made. So you're definitely in the right area there, Boris.
Oh, really? Wow.
Okay. You've come to the right place. You've come to the right place.
Well,
no, your knowledge will be appreciated, and we will listen to what you say.
Oh, no, I'm in trouble.
If you've got the books and don't read them anymore, hand them over.
Oh, books. I've lost the books.
Yeah, okay.
Many moves ago.
Yep. Okay.
All right. So you connected there now, Boris?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
We'll see you again, because there's some other people, familiar faces that you'll see in that group.
Sure. And make sure I'm not last. I'm getting a reputation.
I'm making sure you're not last, but you're trying.
Right.
Okay, Paul, go ahead.
Thank you. I was touching on that topic we were just on. There was a fellow who ran around America making those little orgonite devices, and he used to throw them towards towers and used to hide them under rocks. So that technology works?
Yes. If you go to the Bali Gifters page, he will show you how to make them, and how to.
Cool.
He actually made a latex rock. So instead of making a pretty little orgonite, they don't have to be pretty. The uglier they are, the better they work.
Oh.
If that makes sense.
And they call them holy hand grenades.
Yes. Well, this guy made a latex rock, so that he put it all into a rock and then he painted it brown and then just drove around. He actually gifted every tower in Bali. Every tower in Bali has been gifted.
I like you. You just figured out a lot of problems for me. That's why I'm ugly, because I work.
I'm ugly too, mate. I work well.
Okay, so what about the devices that they talk about for houses? They talk about pyramids to keep energy safe, things like that. Is that still on the same subject that we're on now for household use and things like that?
We shouldn't be paying for electricity.
No, I'm talking about there's lots of radiation that is around. Are we actually protecting ourselves by having the orgonite pyramids and things like that as ornaments around the house?
Yes.
Can you see that, Paul?
It's beneficial to make. I've got 40 litres out the back. I've got 500 litres, 440 litres of the resin to make orgonite. Yeah, that's them. But that one hasn't got enough in it. We have to realise that when Dad told you, see how the top part's all together in your Stephen. You see how the top part's all. Well, the whole thing has to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
Has to be all the way through it. No, that's fine. And if you get a pendulum and put it over the top of it, you'll see that it will spin around with an energy coming out the top of it. And you turn it over, and it will actually go to a negative. Yep. All that stuff's good. You can put them on your water, on your power, as much as you can.
Structured water.
Yeah, I've got them in my bedroom. I've got on my bed, in my car, in the shed.
So you've got a Facebook page?
Pardon?
You have a Facebook page?
Yeah, Chris Mazzy, same as the one now.
Oh, good. I already sent a friend request, so yeah, good. Thank you.
Yep.
He's just making sure who you made friends with, mate.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Okay.
I'm just making sure he wasn't CIA, because you never know.
Well, he still might be. That's just a disguise.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yes. Ugly works better. I'll remember that forever. Thank you.
Now we've been here for 2.5 hours, and that's sort of fine. But it might be time to close up, and we can always get Chris back. So there's also an opportunity to join up with Chris in a different forum, in a different way, to get some work done. So this was an informative night, and I thank you so much for coming along, Chris, and just sharing as openly as you have, and also explaining to people where there's some power in this. It's also the responsibility that goes with it, because you can actually damage people, and that's the last thing that we want to do at all. So if there's no more questions, I'll close the evening down. Thank you all for coming along. We'll be here again tomorrow night at 7:30, Maybe it's a little bit more serious, maybe not. We'll see how we go. But we look to get solutions to the issues that we're facing at the moment. This is one. It's in a slightly different way. On the other side, it's more involved with issues like what Paul was dealing with earlier on, and the bigger picture overall.
And the more farmers we can find, the better, guys. And it won't take me long. It won't take us long to show them what we're doing, and it won't take them long to understand, because we are already changing the weather, and they can see that. Farmers can see that. They can see that one day it's just, and all of a sudden it goes. They can see something's going on.
Well, particularly if you can announce to them that look to this over the next 3 days. This is what's going to happen.
Yep.
So
listen, everyone. Thanks for having me on.
It's our pleasure, mate. Thank you so much for giving of yourself.
Really appreciate it.
I'll close the meeting off. Thanks to everybody for coming along. Try and spread the message of the meetings to other people if you can. Bring one or two along, because as you can see, we cover a lot of different topics, but it's all about our well-being and all about being together. So thank you so much, and good night.
Good night.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
No problems.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, and thank you, Rick, for dragging Chris in.
Couldn't work it out. I have nothing on my phone. I just have nothing on my phone.
Oh, good.
Good night, guys.
Thank you. That was informative.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, good night.
Thank you.
Good night.